For Devember 26th, I worked on some HTML stuff, made myself unhappy because I'm not that good at HTML stuff, and stayed up way too late recording a devlog entry. Hello, fellow Sublime Text fanatics. ODAT Nerd here. Welcome to your Devember devlog update for Devember 26th, which is probably going to arrive on the 27th because, as you can see up in the corner of my screen, it's 2 minutes to midnight, and I still have to pull this off and upload it. And I'm pretty sure I'm probably just going to end up going to bed and doing it sometime in the afternoon tomorrow. But the code we're talking about today is already available, and let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at that. This is the last commit from yesterday, which I didn't show you, but you could look at if you like. We were just setting up for what it is that we're doing today. And let me just go ahead and turn that off and maybe also fiddle the setting because I forgot for the diffs so that we can actually see more of what's actually going on here. So the very first thing that we did for today would be this here, which implements lookups for hover information. Now, what we did yesterday was modify, we can see we can't see there, but I added settings for the list of video IDs and the dictionary of video information to any report that has video titles generated into it. This one is just an array that specifies video IDs, just the text of the video ID in order of all of the videos that appear inside of the file, which is going to be important in just a minute. And video info is a dictionary where the keys are video IDs and the values are those big complicated dictionaries that give all the information on said video. So what we used to do here, of course, if we look, is just display that whenever the hover event happens, we should get the print the title hover text just to prove that it actually worked. But what we actually have now is a call to get video information on the point at which the hover happened. And if there is something, we print the title of it to disk just so that we can prove that we're actually figuring out the correct video when we hover over one in the panel. The magic of all of that is, of course, this. We gather those two settings I just talked about, the list and the dictionary, and then we get a region that represents the area where the cursor is hovering over top of the name of something. That's going to provide us a region that says what the full scope applied to that is. Then which is, by the way, meta YouTube, title.youtube. Then we ask Sublime to find all of the instances of that in this view and use the bisect left function, which is part of the standard library, to figure out where inside this list of title regions this one would go. Now, this particular thing here tells you for this list of definitely sorted things, where would this one go if you wanted to insert it? And in order for us to know that we actually found it, we need to know two things. We need to know that the item that we found, the index that it told us, is the one that we're looking for, which means we actually found the thing as opposed to the place where it would be inserted. And because this might be telling us that it doesn't appear anywhere, but it should appear at the end of the list, we have to make sure that this isn't the same as the length of the titles list. Otherwise, this generates an error. But otherwise, we can use its index to get the video ID because this list is in sorted order. And then we can use that to look up the dictionary and turn it back into a dotty. Now, this all works because find by selector gives you scopes in sorted order from the top of the file down. The list of video IDs we inserted is inserted based on the order that the videos appear in the actual file. And as long as those two things are the same, this all works out. So we have ourselves being able to look up this information. And from there, we move into actually implementing some core hover pop-up code to actually do something more interesting than just saying snippet.title in the console. We actually want this to be a hover pop-up. So we modified it to be a hover pop-up that's just the title of the video in a pop-up that hides when the mouse moves away at the point where the mouse hovered with a set size. And from here, we move into the actual HTML part. And I'm going to be honest, I spent a little over an hour working on this stuff, and most of it was related to this. First of all, trying to decide what it was that I wanted to appear inside of the pop-up. And second of all, fighting with CSS because I don't like CSS. CSS doesn't like me. I can never make it do what I want. Although in this case, it was user error. I was being a doofus and not putting a dot in front of some of my class names, so I was actually styling tags. That's neither here nor there. What we actually have here is something that looks like, yeah, this is what the pop-up is going to have inside of it. A heading that is the name of the video, and then the number of views, likes, and dislikes. And these are all spans that allow us to provide some colors. For example, the view count is purple, likes are green, dislikes are red. And this description text, which is in this paragraph down here, is actually whatever the foreground color currently is, but with a bit of an alpha transparency on it to dim it down a little bit so that it's not quite so vivid. And when we actually want to use this, instead of just showing that text there, we use a format to provide the snippet title and the view count, like count, discount, like count. I can't talk right now. It's late. And the very first line of the description. And that is pretty much all we have here. And because that is not super exciting, we can see here this is the list of things as it now exists. If you looked at one of the devlogs or the live stream, I guess it was just a live stream because we didn't show this in a devlog. This used to have phantoms in it. Now it doesn't. It's just a list of videos, and hovering over one of these things will actually give you information like the title of the video, how many times it's viewed, how many times it's liked, how many times it's disliked. And of course, for testing purposes, we like to hover ourselves over yon terminus video because it's one of the most popular videos on the channel here with 250 likes and almost 9,000 views. And I think the other terminus video is actually even more popular than that, if I had to guess. Yes, it is. Terminus and Randy did a lot here. So this is what we have here so far. Now, we have this information set up. We can go about adding in some buttons in here to do the things that we would like to do. A little pencil icon for editing this here, maybe editing it remotely. We can actually include images in here now if we want. The world is our oyster in that particular regard. And that is going to do it for this particular devlog. You can see me tomorrow in another devlog right here on the channel. And remember, there's still 2 more live streams that are going to happen here on the channel in this upcoming week. So you might want to use the buttons down below to thumb, subscribe, and share. Ring the bell notification icon. Follow me on Twitter. Anything that you need to do to make sure that you can hang out in the live stream chat with us. Watch us solve bugs, have weird problems. Watch me bang my head on not being able to understand how CSS works. It's a blast, I'm telling you. It's a blast. And until the next time that you see me, this is ODAT Nerd, wishing you to have a sublime day. And now, bed.